Welcome. Before we begin, I want you to pause and ask yourself a question you may not ask very often. Am I truly at peace right now? Not just surviving, not just getting through another day, but truly at ease inside your own skin. For many of us, the honest answer is no. Most mornings begin not with gratitude, but with the sharp cry of an alarm clock, pulling us from restless sleep into a storm of demands. The phone is the first thing we reach for. Emails from work are waiting. Bills are waiting. Messages from people we love and from people we barely know. Even before our feet touch the floor, we are already behind. Life in this modern world often feels like running on a treadmill that never slows down. You work harder, you run faster, yet the finish line only moves further away. Stress piles on top of stress. And somewhere in that heavy rush, your heart whispers, there must be more than this. If you have ever felt trapped in that cycle of working, worrying, consuming, pretending to be fine while quietly falling apart inside, you are not alone. Millions across the world feel this same ache. The pressure to succeed, to be admired, to stay afloat financially, to look happy even when you are not. It is crushing. Perhaps you know the feeling of lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying mistakes, fearing tomorrow, wondering why life feels so empty, even when you seem to have everything. Or perhaps you carry the weight of loneliness, scrolling through endless screens in search of connection, yet feeling more isolated with every passing day dot. This is the reality many of us live in. But it is not the whole story. Because hidden within every struggle is a door, a way through. You may not see it yet, but it is there. This journey we are about to take together is not about preaching, not about telling you what to believe, but about gently holding up a lantern in the darkness, so you can see the path that has always been beneath your feet. A path walked for thousands of years by those who also knew pain, who also longed for peace, and who discovered something timeless, a way of living with clarity, compassion, and unshakable calm. Over the next 2 hours, we will explore the silent burdens that modern life places on your shoulders. Stress, money, love, loneliness, fear of the future, the endless pull of technology, and the deep hunger for meaning. We will not deny the pain. We will face it directly with honesty. But at the same time, we will slowly uncover a new perspective, one rooted in ancient wisdom, yet profoundly relevant today. These teachings are not distant philosophy. They are practical, lived truths, expressed through stories and simple images you can carry with you into daily life. So I invite you now to stay with me. Give yourself the rare gift of time. Let this be more than just another video, more than just words flowing past your ears. Let it be a mirror in which you see yourself clearly, and a doorway through which you begin to walk lighter, freer, more awake. Because at the end of this journey, you may find something you have been seeking all along, not out there, but already within you. Peace. Picture this. The sun has not yet risen, but somewhere in a small apartment, a phone begins to buzz. A hand reaches out, still half asleep, fumbling to silence the alarm. The first thought is not gratitude for another day, not even curiosity about what this morning might bring, but dread. The mind leaps ahead before the body can catch up deadlines, meetings, bills, traffic. The glow of the phone lights up the dark room, and already the heart races. Before the day has even started, the body is in battle mode. This is the story of millions. Maybe it is your story too. Stress has become the invisible air we breathe. It is woven into the very structure of modern life. People rush from one obligation to another, drinking coffee not for pleasure, but as fuel, checking emails not because they want to, but because they fear falling behind. In the grocery store, someone's cart bumps yours and irritation flares like fire. On the road, horns blare, tempers rise. At work, Even when you sit still, your chest feels tight, your thoughts scattered, your body tense. And when you finally collapse into bed at night, the mind does not rest. It replays the day, rehearses tomorrow, and leaves you awake long after your body begs for sleep. This endless cycle takes its toll. Doctors say stress contributes to heart disease, obesity, depression, anxiety, even memory loss. But beyond statistics, there is the quiet suffering that numbers cannot capture, the way stress steals joy from the smallest moments. How it turns laughter with family into irritability. How it makes the world feel heavy even when nothing is physically wrong. Stress is not just a medical issue. It is a spiritual issue. It is the signal that we have become disconnected from the deeper rhythm of life. Let us pause here, because in this very moment, as you listen, maybe your shoulders are tight. Maybe your breath is shallow. Maybe you are carrying tension you did not even notice until now. Stress does that. It sneaks in, becoming normal, until you forget there is another way to live. But what if stress is not inevitable? What if the constant pressure you feel is not proof of your failure, but proof of a misunderstanding? The Buddha once described the human mind as a restless monkey, always jumping from branch to branch, never still. More than 2,000 years ago, he saw the same struggle we face today. The details were different. There were no phones, no emails, no traffic jams, but the restless mind was the same. Stress arises not only from what happens outside us, but from how our minds grasp, resist, and spin endless stories about what should be. Stress is not just in your schedule. Stress is in your perception. Now think of a glass of water. When the water is still, you can see straight through to the bottom. But when it is shaken, cloudy with dirt and bubbles, everything looks distorted. Stress is like shaking the glass. Life itself may not be unbearable, but the mind, stirred up and agitated, makes it feel impossible. And here is the hope. The water does not need to be replaced. It only needs to be allowed to settle down right now. Take one breath. Just one. In through the nose, slowly. Hold for a second. Then release. Feel how even a single breath can create a small space. A pause in the storm. This is not about escaping life. It is about learning to meet life with clarity. The Buddha taught that mindfulness, the simple act of paying attention, here and now, is the path to freedom from suffering. Not tomorrow, not after you fix everything, but now. Maybe you think, but my stress is different. My problems are bigger. Breathing will not pay my bills or solve my deadlines. And you are right. Breathing will not erase the challenges of life, but it changes how you meet them. It changes the ground on which you stand. Imagine facing a storm while balanced on solid earth versus standing on thin ice. The storm may be the same, but your ability to withstand it is completely different. Many of us believe peace will come only when everything outside finally calms down, when the bills are paid, when the job is secure, when people treat us kindly, when the world slows. But have you noticed? That day never arrives. Life does not stop demanding, and so we wait for a peace that never comes because we are looking in the wrong place. Peace does not begin outside. It begins in how we relate to the outside. There is an old Zen story. A monk asked his teacher, "Master, how do you find peace in a world so full of noise?" The teacher replied, "Peace is not found in the world. It is found in the silence beneath the noise." Stress tells you that you must fight harder, do more, prove yourself. Wisdom tells you the opposite, that the deepest strength comes not from tightening, but from loosening. Not from resisting, but from relaxing into what already is dot. So let me ask you again, are you at peace right now? And if not, are you willing to try a different way? The first step is small, almost laughably small. Noticing your breath, noticing your body, noticing that you are here. When you start with awareness, stress begins to lose its grip. Like a shadow exposed to light, it cannot remain as strong when you see it clearly. And here is the invitation. Do not take my word for it. Test it. Try it. In the next part of this chapter, we will go deeper into the nature of stress and how the teachings of mindfulness and compassion can transform even the heaviest burdens. But for now, let this thought settle in your mind. You are not powerless. Stress is not who you are. It is only a passing weather pattern in the vast sky of your being. And the sky, no matter how stormy, is never harmed by the clouds. Imagine standing at a busy intersection in a large American city. Cars rush by, horns blaring, people pushing past you, eyes glued to their phones. The energy feels frantic, almost violent, even though no one intends harm. You sense it in your chest, a tightness, a racing heart, the instinct to hurry, even if you have nowhere urgent to go. This is modern stress in its raw form. Not just the deadlines and bills, but the atmosphere itself. It surrounds you, presses into you, until you forget what stillness feels like. But here is the truth. Stress is not new. It has always been with humanity, because the restless mind has always been with humanity. What is new is the speed. In the past, a farmer worried about the harvest, a villager worried about storms, a mother worried for her child's health. But now, with technology and constant connection, worries multiply. You do not have one harvest to fear. You have 1,000 emails, 100 notifications, endless comparisons to strangers on glowing screens. The nervous system, designed for survival, cannot tell the difference between a predator in the forest and a flashing red number on your phone. The body reacts the same way: fight, flight, or freeze. And so millions live in permanent emergency mode. We call this normal. But normal is not the same as natural. The natural state of the mind is clear and calm, like a still lake. Stress is a ripple, a disturbance, not the essence. Yet most of us mistake the ripple for the lake itself. We forget that beneath the surface agitation, there is depth, vastness, stillness waiting to be touched. The Buddha called this recognition right view, seeing reality as it truly is. One teaching that speaks directly to stress is the understanding of dukkha. This word is often translated as suffering, but its meaning is more subtle. It is the unease that comes from resisting what is. Stress is a perfect example of dukkha. You want more time, but the clock keeps moving. You want people to act differently, but they do not. You want certainty about tomorrow, but tomorrow is unknown. And so the mind pulls, pushes, fights, and in that struggle, tension is born. Now consider another image. A man carries a heavy backpack full of rocks. Every day he walks with it, shoulders aching, breath labored. When someone suggests he could set it down, he laughs bitterly. But these are my rocks. I have carried them so long, they are part of me. Stress is like that backpack. We become so used to carrying it that we forget it is optional. Of course, responsibilities remain. Life demands action. But the extra weight, the constant worry, the self-criticism, the stories about failure, that weight is chosen, not given. Mindfulness is the act of putting down one stone at a time. With each breath, you notice this tension in my jaw, this clenching in my chest, this thought that says, I can't handle it. You see it, and in seeing, you soften. The rock falls away. Slowly, the backpack grows lighter. Slowly, you remember what it feels like to walk freely. Science now confirms what the Buddha taught centuries ago. Studies show that even 10 minutes of mindful breathing can lower blood pressure, calm the nervous system, improve focus. But beyond science, there is the direct experience. When you stop, when you breathe, when you simply allow yourself to be here, something shifts. It is small at first, but it grows. Peace is not far away. It is always one breath close. Perhaps you still doubt. If mindfulness is so powerful, why isn't everyone free from stress already? The answer is simple. Knowing the medicine is not the same as taking it. You can read about calm, talk about calm, even teach about calm. But until you practice, until you breathe, observe, release, the stress remains. The Buddha often said, "Come and see. Do not believe blindly. Test for yourself." There is another aspect of stress worth naming: compassion. We often think stress is only about ourselves, our deadlines, our fears. But look around. That coworker snapping at you may be drowning in their own pressure. That stranger who cut you off in traffic may be carrying worries you cannot see. Stress spreads like fire. It burns individuals and it burns communities. The antidote, then, is not only mindfulness for yourself, but compassion for others. When you realize everyone is struggling, your heart softens. Instead of anger, you offer patience. Instead of judgment, understanding. This does not remove stress instantly, but it changes the atmosphere in which stress lives. Compassion is like cool rain on a burning forest. And here is a secret. When you give compassion, you also receive it. The act of opening your heart releases your own tension. You no longer fight the world. You join it, flow with it, and suddenly the load feels lighter. This is why kindness is not a luxury. It is survival. It is how we transform a world drowning in stress into a world that remembers peace. So, what can you do right now? Begin small. The next time you feel your chest tighten, pause. Place one hand over your heart. Breathe deeply. Whisper silently. It's okay. That is mindfulness. That is compassion. You do not need incense, a meditation cushion, or a retreat in the mountains. You need only the willingness to notice, to breathe, to soften. Slowly, moment by moment, stress loses its power. This is the invitation of the first chapter, to see stress not as an unchangeable enemy, but as a teacher. Every knot of tension, every racing thought, is an opportunity to return home to your breath, to your body, to the simple truth that peace is possible now. And as we move forward, keep this question alive. If stress is only the storm on the surface, what is the vast calm ocean beneath? In the next chapter, we will turn to another form of suffering, money, and the endless hunger it creates. But before we go there, carry this with you. You are not your stress. You are the sky, wide and free. Stress is only the cloud, and clouds always pass. Picture a quiet evening in a suburban home. The living room lamp glows softly. A half-empty cup of coffee sits on the table, and on the couch, someone opens a stack of envelopes, one after another. Electricity bill, water bill, credit card statement, medical notice. The numbers rise like mountains. The paycheck from last week already feels like it has vanished. For a moment, the chest tightens, the head grows heavy, and the unspoken thought appears: I will never catch up. This is the silent battle with money, a battle fought not on battlefields, but in kitchens, bedrooms, and quiet corners where worry whispers louder than words. In modern society, money has become more than paper, more than numbers on a screen. It is safety, respect, survival, even identity. From a young age, we are taught that success means earning, buying, owning. The car you drive, the house you live in, the brand on your clothes, these become badges of worth. And so money is no longer just a tool. It is the mirror we use to judge ourselves. When the mirror reflects lack, we feel shame. When it reflects abundance, we fear losing it. Either way, peace is missing. Think of how many choices in a single day are shaped by money. The food you buy, the school you choose for your children, the vacations you dream of but postpone, the arguments between couples about spending. Financial stress, does not stay in the wallet. It spills into relationships, health, even sleep. A study once found that money worries are among the leading causes of divorce. Another showed that constant financial anxiety weakens the immune system. And yet, the deeper wound is not just numbers, it is the feeling of never enough. Never enough is a powerful illusion. You can earn more, save more, spend less, but still, the hunger remains. Someone always has a bigger house, a newer phone, a higher salary. Social media multiplies the pressure. You scroll through pictures of vacations you cannot afford, meals that look perfect, lives that seem effortless. Even when your own life is stable, comparison whispers, you are falling behind. And so the battle rages on, quietly and visibly, inside the mind. The Buddha understood this hunger. He spoke of tanha, the craving that fuels suffering. Craving is not just desire for food or shelter. It is the endless grasping for more money, more status, more possessions, more approval. Like drinking salt water, the more you consume, the thirstier you become. The cycle never ends. This is why even the wealthy often feel restless, fearing loss, chasing more, never satisfied. Craving is not solved by addition. It is dissolved by recognition. Imagine a person holding a burning coal in their hand, convinced it will bring warmth. Instead, it only burns. Letting go seems terrifying. What if I become cold? But the moment the coal is released, relief floods in. In the same way, our clinging to money as identity is the source of pain. The money itself is neutral. It can buy medicine, food, education. The suffering comes from making it the measure of our worth. This does not mean abandoning money or pretending it does not matter. We live in a world where bills must be paid. The Buddha did not teach denial of reality. He taught balance. The middle way: use money, but do not be used by it. Earn honestly, spend wisely, but remember, your value is not the number in your bank account. True wealth is freedom from craving, freedom from the never enough story. There is a story from ancient times. A man asked the Buddha, "Why am I always anxious about losing what I have?" The Buddha replied, "Because you call it yours. If you see wealth as flowing through you, not belonging to you, fear dissolves. You become a steward, not a prisoner." This is radical even today. Imagine seeing money not as a cage, but as a tool that passes through your hands. Imagine measuring wealth not by possessions, but by peace of mind. Pause here. Reflect on your own relationship with money. Do you see it as a friend or an enemy? Does it feel like freedom or like chains? Most of us never question this relationship. We simply inherit the beliefs of our culture. Work harder, earn more, consume endlessly. But what if that very belief is the root of our suffering? Take a breath. Picture a life where money is present, but it no longer controls your worth. A life where your self-respect comes from kindness, wisdom, and inner calm, not from salary or possessions. This is not fantasy. It is a choice of perspective. And perspective is where freedom begins. In the next part of this chapter, we will go deeper into how financial stress infiltrates families and communities, and how Buddhist wisdom offers not escape, but transformation, turning money from a source of anxiety into a servant of peace. For now, carry this seed. Enough is not a number. It is a state of mind. Let us step into another scene. It is late at night. A couple sits at the kitchen table, voices low but tense. The children are asleep in the next room. On the table lies a credit card bill. One partner says, "We need to cut back." The other replies, "We already have." Frustration rises, not because of the numbers alone, but because of the fear beneath them. Fear of not being safe. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of failing the people you love. Financial stress does not only touch the bank account, It seeps into the heart of relationships. Many families know this unspoken tension. Parents argue about spending, about saving, about what is necessary and what is waste. Children sense the worry, even if no words are spoken. They grow up absorbing the lesson that money equals security, that happiness depends on income. And so the cycle repeats, generation after generation, a silent inheritance of fear. But pause and notice. What is money, really? Strips of paper, numbers on a screen, agreements that society has chosen to believe. Its power is not in the paper itself, but in the meaning we give it. When we believe that money is the source of safety, love, or respect, we hand it control over our lives. Yet the Buddha pointed to a different truth. Safety, love, and respect are inner qualities. They arise from compassion, wisdom, and integrity. Money may support them, but it cannot create them. Consider this. Two people with the same income live very different lives. One feels constant lack, always comparing, always anxious. The other feels gratitude, content with simple pleasures, free from envy. The difference is not the salary. The difference is the mind. This is why the Buddha taught santuthi, the joy of contentment. To be content is not to give up ambition, but to stop measuring worth by endless craving. Contentment is wealth that no thief can steal, no market can crash. There is a story of a wealthy merchant who asked a monk, "Why do I feel poor, even though I own so much?" The monk replied, "Because your hands are always closed, grasping. Wealth is felt when your hands are open, giving. Generosity, or dana, is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice. It is not about the size of the gift, but the spirit of release. When you give, even a little, you remember that money is not your master. It flows through you. You taste freedom. This is not just spiritual poetry. Studies show that people who give, who share, report greater happiness than those who only consume. Generosity breaks the cycle of never enough. It turns money from a chain into a channel. Imagine your paycheck as water. If you try to hoard it, the water stagnates, breeds anxiety. But when it flows, supporting your needs, helping others, it refreshes, nourishes, brings life. Still, you may wonder, but what if I truly do not have enough? What if the bills exceed my income? Here the Buddha's teaching of right livelihood becomes practical. He encouraged earning in ways that are honest, compassionate, and sustainable. Work that harms others, even if profitable, brings inner unrest. But work aligned with integrity brings a deeper kind of wealth, peace of conscience. When you know your income does not come at the cost of another's suffering, it carries a different quality. Right livelihood also means balance. Many today work endlessly, chasing overtime, sacrificing health and relationships for money. But at what cost? If you lose your well-being in the process of earning, what have you truly gained? The middle way suggests moderation, not too little, not too much. Enough to live, enough to share, enough to be free. Let us return to the couple at the kitchen table. Imagine if, instead of blaming, they paused. One takes a breath, the other softens. Together, they say, we are more than these numbers. We will face this with honesty, with compassion. Suddenly, the bill is still there, but the atmosphere shifts. Love returns. Fear loosens. The battle is not erased, but it is no longer destructive. This is the hidden power of perspective. And what about you? Reflect for a moment on your own relationship with money. Do you grasp it tightly, fearing loss? Do you chase it endlessly, hoping it will fill an inner void? Or can you begin to see it as a tool important? Yes, but not ultimate? Can you practice gratitude for what you already have, rather than torment over what is missing? The Buddha once said, "Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship." Notice, Money is absent from this list, not because it is useless, but because it is not the foundation of happiness. Without health, no amount of wealth can be enjoyed. Without contentment, no amount of income will satisfy. Without trust, no fortune can heal loneliness. These truths are timeless. So as we close this chapter, let the seed of reflection grow. You are not your bank account. You are not your debts or your possessions. You are more. Money may rise and fall, but your worth does not. Peace with money does not come from winning the battle, but from realizing the battle itself is optional. Carry this thought forward. Enough is not a number you chase. It is a choice you make here and now, with gratitude, with balance, with compassion. And as we move to the next chapter, where love, loneliness, and broken connections take the stage, remember, true wealth is not in your wallet. It is in your heart. Imagine a family dinner table in America. The food is warm, the chairs are filled, but the air feels strangely cold. A father scrolls through his phone between bites. A mother replies absent-mindedly to work messages. The teenager has earbuds in, and the younger child pokes at their plate, unnoticed. They are together, yet apart. Their bodies share the same space, but their hearts drift miles away. This is the silent epidemic of our time. Loneliness, even in the presence of others. Loneliness is not just about being physically alone. It is the aching emptiness that comes when we feel unseen, unheard, disconnected. You can be surrounded by friends at a party and still feel invisible. You can sleep next to your partner every night and still feel profoundly alone. Modern life, with all its noise and connection, has made true connection rare. Social media promises closeness, yet often delivers only comparison. We post pictures we like, we comment, but at the end of the day, many lie in bed wondering, does anyone truly know me? Does anyone truly care? This loneliness is heavy. It seeps into mental health, fueling anxiety and depression. It pushes people toward addictions, endless scrolling, binge watching, shopping, drinking, desperate attempts to fill the emptiness. Studies show that loneliness can be as harmful to the body as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Yet beyond the statistics lies the deeper truth. The human heart longs for connection, like the lungs long for air. Without it, we wither. And what of love? Love is supposed to be the antidote to loneliness. But here too, suffering often takes root. Relationships begin with passion, promises, hope. Yet over time, disappointment creeps in. Words are spoken in anger. Silences grow heavy. Expectations clash. People who once held hands now build walls. Sometimes the relationship ends. Sometimes it stays, but the warmth is gone. Many know the pain of lying next to someone and feeling more alone than if they were single. The Buddha, observing the human heart, did not dismiss love, but he warned of attachment clinging to others as though they could complete us. We expect our partners, our friends, our families to erase our loneliness, to carry our burdens, to make us whole. And when they fail, as all humans sometimes do, we feel betrayed. The truth is that no one can complete you. They can walk beside you, support you, share joy and sorrow, but the root of wholeness must grow within. Picture two trees standing side by side. If their roots are strong, deep in their own soil, their branches can intertwine beautifully. But if one tree leans entirely on the other, both risk falling. In the same way, healthy love arises when each person stands steady in themselves. Loneliness is not cured by demanding another to fill us, but by awakening to the fullness already within. Yet awakening does not mean isolation. The Buddha also taught metta, loving kindness. This is the practice of opening the heart, not just to partners or friends, but to all beings, including yourself. Often, loneliness begins because we withhold love from ourselves. We look in the mirror and judge. We remember mistakes and condemn. We treat ourselves with a harshness we would never use on a child. And so we walk around with an inner emptiness, hoping someone else will fill it. But when we practice loving kindness toward ourselves, whispering, "May I be safe, may I be happy, may I be at peace," we plant the seeds of connection. Think of this. When your heart is filled with kindness, even if you are physically alone, you do not feel abandoned. The walls of loneliness soften. And when you meet others, you carry warmth instead of neediness. People are drawn not because you demand love, but because you radiate it. In this way, love stops being a desperate grasp and becomes a natural flow. Perhaps you remember a moment, maybe small, maybe fleeting, when someone truly listened to you, without distraction, without judgment. That moment felt alive, healing, like water to a thirsty soul. True connection requires presence, not perfection. And presence is something we can all give. It begins simply, putting down the phone, meeting someone's eyes, listening with the heart. These small acts, repeated, rebuild the bridges that stress and distraction have burned. So let us pause. Right now, bring to mind someone you care about. Picture their face. Imagine saying silently, "May you be safe. May you feel loved. May you find peace." Notice how even this thought creates a sense of warmth. This is the power of loving kindness. It costs nothing, yet it nourishes both the giver and the receiver. Loneliness will not vanish overnight. Relationships will still face storms. But the practice of loving kindness, of compassion, offers a compass. It guides us back when we are lost in isolation. It reminds us that love is not only about receiving, but about giving, and that the deepest connection begins when we connect with our own heart. In the next part of this chapter, we will go deeper into the struggles of modern love, why relationships fracture, why expectations hurt, and how Buddhist wisdom shows us a path to genuine intimacy and unshakable compassion. For now, carry this truth. Loneliness is real, but it is not permanent. Love is always within reach, because love begins with you. Let us imagine another scene. A young couple sits in silence in their car after a long day. They once laughed easily together, talked for hours, dreamed of the future. Now, silence fills the space like fog. The words they do speak are short, sharp, and tired. They still live under the same roof, but the sense of connection has faded. What happened? Somewhere along the way, love turned into expectation. Expectation turned into disappointment, and disappointment hardened into distance. This story is not rare. It echoes in millions of homes. Relationships begin with hope, but often stumble under the weight of unspoken demands. We believe our partner should always make us feel loved, secure, validated. When they fall short, when they are distracted, imperfect, human, we feel betrayed. And so loneliness is not only the absence of love, but sometimes the presence of love distorted by clinging. The Buddha described this as apadana, attachment, or grasping. Attachment is not the same as love. Love is open, generous, and kind. Attachment is tight, controlling, demanding. We confuse the two, and in that confusion, suffering grows. True love says, "I wish for your happiness, even when it does not serve me." Attachment says, "I need you to behave in ways that keep me comfortable." One liberates, the other imprisons. Think of holding a bird in your hand. If you grip too tightly, you crush it. If you hold too loosely, it may fly away. But if you open your palm and let it rest freely, it may choose to stay. Love is like that. It thrives not under control, but under freedom. So how do we move from attachment to love? The Buddha offered the practice of compassion and mindfulness in relationships. When conflict arises, instead of reacting with anger, pause. Notice the heat in your chest, the sharpness in your words. Ask yourself, am I speaking to punish or to understand? So much pain in love comes not from what is said, but from the absence of true listening. We want to be understood, yet we rarely offer that same gift. There is a teaching called deep listening. To listen deeply is to put aside your own agenda, your own need to reply, and simply receive the other person's truth. Imagine how healing it feels when someone listens not to argue, not to fix, but simply to witness. This is the soil where love can grow again. And let us not forget the loneliness of those who have no partner, no close family, or who feel abandoned. For them, the ache of disconnection can feel unbearable. Here, too, the practice of loving kindness becomes medicine. By turning compassion inward, you begin to soothe your own wounds. By extending compassion outward, even silently, even to strangers, you weave invisible threads of connection. Loneliness begins to loosen when the heart remembers its own capacity to love. There is a story of a woman who came to the Buddha after losing her child. Her grief was unbearable. She begged him to bring her son back. Instead, he asked her to bring him a mustard seed from a house untouched by death. She searched every home, but everywhere she went, she found grief. When she returned empty-handed, she realized she was not alone in her suffering. This realization did not erase her pain, but it transformed it. Connection was born, not through perfection, but through shared humanity. In our modern lives, loneliness often tells us we are uniquely broken, that others have what we lack. But the truth is that disconnection is universal. Everyone longs for love. Everyone fears abandonment. When we remember this, compassion flows more easily. Loneliness shrinks when we see that we are walking a shared path. Now consider another dimension, self-love. This phrase is often used lightly, but its depth is profound. Self-love in the Buddhist sense is not indulgence or selfishness. It is the recognition that you, too, are worthy of kindness. Just as you wish others to be safe, happy, and at peace, you must wish it for yourself. Without this foundation, relationships falter. For how can you truly love another if your own heart is full of self-criticism and shame? Pause for a moment. Place your hand gently over your chest. Whisper inwardly, "May I be at peace. May I be free from loneliness. May I remember that I am enough." Feel how even this small act softens the edges of isolation. As we move forward, we must accept a difficult truth. Not every relationship will last. Some bonds will break. Some people will leave. But this does not mean love has failed. It means love has taught its lesson, and now you are invited to grow. The Buddha reminded us that all things are impermanent relationships, emotions, even loneliness itself. To resist this truth brings pain. To accept it opens space for healing. So what does it mean to live love wisely? It means to cherish without clinging, to listen deeply, to forgive often, to practice kindness even when it is not returned. It means to recognize that connection is not built on perfection, but on presence. Love is not a possession. It is a practice. And as this chapter closes, let this remain in your heart. Loneliness may feel like a locked room, but the key is already in your hand. The key is presence, compassion, and the courage to love without chains. You are not as alone as you believe. Every heart beats with the same longing. Every soul walks with the same hope. Love is not lost. It is waiting quietly within you, ready to be remembered. It is 2 a.m. A man lies awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. His body is exhausted, but his mind refuses to rest. Thoughts spin like a carousel. What if I lose my job? What if I can't pay the mortgage? What if my health fails? What if the world gets worse? The questions circle endlessly, and each "what if" feels heavier than the last. The room is dark, but inside his mind, storms rage. This is the anxiety of tomorrow, the fear of what has not yet happened. You may know this feeling yourself. Perhaps it is the quiet panic that comes before a big presentation, or the dread before a doctor's appointment, or the sleepless nights before bills are due. Sometimes it is not even a specific problem. It is a vague, knowing sense that something bad is coming, though you cannot name what it is. Anxiety feeds on uncertainty, and modern life provides endless fuel. News headlines warn of crisis, climate change, wars. Social media amplifies fear with constant reminders of what could go wrong. The human mind, always alert for danger, latches on to these stories and magnifies them. In the past, our ancestors also faced fear. A rustle in the bush might signal a predator. A shift in the clouds might mean a storm. Fear was a survival tool. But now, the same instinct runs wild. Instead of one threat, we imagine hundreds. Instead of fleeting danger, we live in constant anticipation. The nervous system stays on high alert, even in the safety of our own homes. The body does not know the difference between a real tiger and an imagined future. The heart pounds, the breath quickens, the muscles tighten. Anxiety makes tomorrow's shadows feel like today's reality. The Buddha described this tendency as papancha, the proliferation of thoughts. One small worry multiplies into many, like branches sprouting from a single seed. What if I make a mistake? Grows into, what if I lose everything? What if I never recover? What if I am not enough? Anxiety is not just the presence of fear, but the imagination's power to turn fear into endless stories. Think of a person carrying a lantern at night. The light shines only a few feet ahead, yet the mind invents monsters beyond its reach. Most of those monsters never appear. Still, the traveler trembles as if surrounded by danger. Anxiety is like that. It convinces us that we must prepare for every possibility, control every outcome. But the truth is, tomorrow has not yet come. The only place life actually unfolds is here. Now, so how do we free ourselves from this restless anticipation? The Buddha taught the practice of presence. Mindfulness is not about ignoring the future, but about anchoring in the only moment that is real. This breath, this step, this heartbeat. When we return to the present, tomorrow loses its grip. Anxiety thrives in imagination, but it cannot survive in direct awareness. Take a breath right now. Feel the air move in, cool against your nostrils. Feel it move out, warm against your lips. For just this moment, notice that you are alive, safe, breathing. The fears of tomorrow may still whisper, but they no longer dominate. Each breath is a reminder that life is happening now, not in the endless what-ifs. Of course, the mind resists. But I must plan. I must prepare. Planning has its place. But there is a difference between wise preparation and anxious projection. Wise preparation looks at what is within your control, takes clear steps, then rests. Anxiety demands control of what can never be controlled, the future itself. The Buddha's wisdom lies in this distinction. Prepare when you can, release when you must. Trust the unfolding of life, because clinging to certainty only deepens fear. There is a story of a farmer who worried endlessly about the weather. Every day he feared too much rain, too little rain, storms, droughts. One day, a wise friend told him, "You cannot control the clouds, but you can prepare the soil. Focus there." The farmer laughed, but then he understood. Anxiety about the sky brought only misery. Care for the soil brought both peace and harvest. So it is with life. We cannot control tomorrow's storms, but we can cultivate our inner ground, patience, resilience, mindfulness. From that soil, peace grows, no matter the weather. Pause again. Ask yourself, how many of your fears from last year actually happened? Likely some did, but many did not. The mind imagines disasters that never arrive. And even when hardship does come, we often discover we are stronger than we feared. Anxiety steals today's peace without guaranteeing tomorrow's safety. To live constantly in fear of what might be is to suffer twice once in imagination, once in reality. The Buddha once said, "The mind that clings to the future is like a fish thrown on dry land, thrashing about in agony." But he also offered the way out, return to the water of the present. Here, in this breath, there is no past, no future, only awareness. And in awareness, fear begins to dissolve. As we move deeper into this chapter, we will explore how to work skillfully with uncertainty, how to find trust even when tomorrow feels fragile, and how Buddhist teachings on impermanence can transform fear into freedom. For now, let this truth echo gently. Tomorrow is not here yet. You do not have to suffer for it today. Imagine a young woman sitting in her office cubicle, staring at the glowing screen. She tries to focus on the spreadsheet in front of her, but her mind is elsewhere. What if I don't get promoted this year? What if my boss thinks I'm not good enough? What if the company downsizes? She smiles politely in meetings, but inside, she is drowning in questions without answers. By the time she goes home, she is too exhausted to enjoy dinner, too restless to sleep. Tomorrow has stolen today. This is the trap of anxiety. It convinces us that worry is useful. We believe that if we think hard enough, plan far enough, we can prevent suffering. But most of the time, worry does not solve problems. It only multiplies them. It is like sitting in a rocking chair, lots of movement, no progress. The Buddha compared it to carrying an extra burden on top of life's natural difficulties. Pain is real, but anxiety adds a second arrow. The first arrow is the challenge itself. The second arrow is the story we tell. This will destroy me. I cannot handle it. My future is doomed. The first arrow hurts. The second arrow is optional. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, how many times has anxiety predicted your future accurately? Often, the things we fear most never arrive. And even when they do, we usually find a way through. Think back to a time when you worried endlessly about something. Did the worry make you stronger or weaker? Did it give you energy or drain it away? Anxiety steals your strength before you even face the challenge. So what is the alternative? The Buddha taught about impermanence, anicca. Everything changes. Storms come, storms go. Joy comes, joy fades. Anxiety arises, and anxiety also fades. The future you fear is not fixed. It is a moving river, not a solid wall. When you realize this, you stop clinging so tightly to certainty. You begin to trust the flow. Consider the image of a leaf floating on water. The current carries it forward, sometimes gently, sometimes roughly. The leaf does not resist. It does not demand to know where the river will bend. It simply moves with the flow. We, too, are carried by a river larger than ourselves. The more we thrash and resist, the more we suffer. The more we soften and trust, the more we find peace. Trust does not mean passivity. It does not mean ignoring responsibilities or refusing to plan. It means doing what you can in the present and then letting go of what is beyond your control. The Buddha's teaching of right effort guides us here. Right effort is not about exhausting yourself with worry. It is about wise, balanced energy, acting where you can, releasing where you cannot. Anxiety demands perfection. Wisdom accepts imperfection. There is a story of a monk who was asked how he could remain calm while others panicked about the future. He replied, "When it rains, I let it rain. When the sun shines, I let it shine." His calmness did not come from controlling the weather, but from living in harmony with it. In the same way, peace comes not from controlling tomorrow, but for meeting it with openness. One practical way to soften anxiety is to return to the body. When fear about the future grips the mind, notice your breath. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice the beating of your heart. These anchors remind you, I am here, now. The future is only a thought. The present is reality. Again and again, bring yourself back. Each time you return, anxiety weakens. Another practice is gratitude. Anxiety says, something will be missing tomorrow. Gratitude says, something is already here today. When you name even one thing you are thankful for, a warm meal, a safe shelter, a kind word, you shift the mind from fear to presence. Gratitude does not erase uncertainty, but it changes your posture toward it. Instead of bracing for loss, you rest in appreciation. Think too about community. Anxiety isolates. It tells you that you are alone in your fears. But when you speak honestly with others, you discover a shared humanity. Your neighbor worries about their job. Your friend fears for their children. Your coworker loses sleep at night too. This shared struggle does not solve everything, but it lightens the load. Compassion is born when we realize we are all trembling in the same storm. And finally, there is trust, not blind trust, but deep trust in the nature of life. The Buddha called this saddha, confidence. Not confidence that tomorrow will always be easy, but confidence that no matter what comes, you can meet it with awareness, resilience, and compassion. Confidence that even in hardship, there is growth. Confidence that you are not powerless, but carried by something greater, the rhythm of impermanence itself. So as this chapter closes, let the lesson settle. Anxiety is the shadow of tomorrow cast on today. You cannot stop the future from unfolding, but you can stop abandoning the present. Each breath, each step is a doorway back to peace. And as we turn to the next chapter, where we will face another challenge, the trap of technology and its hold on our minds, carry this truth with you. Tomorrow is uncertain, yes, but uncertainty is not the enemy. It is the very space in which hope, creativity, and freedom are born. It is late at night. A young man lies in bed, phone glowing inches from his face. He tells himself, just 5 more minutes. 5 minutes turn into an hour. Video after video scrolls past. Memes, news clips, strangers dancing, angry debates. His eyes burn, his body aches for sleep, but his thumb keeps moving. When he finally drops the phone, the night is almost gone. He wakes the next morning exhausted, promising himself it will be different tonight. But deep down, he knows the cycle will repeat. This is the silent prison of technology. Devices designed to connect us now consume us. Notifications pull our attention every few minutes. Endless scrolling steals hours we never meant to give away. Many say, I don't have time to meditate, to rest, to truly live. But time is not missing. It is leaking drop by drop into screens. Technology itself is not the enemy. A phone is just plastic and glass. The danger lies in how it is used, and more importantly, how it uses us. Behind every app lies an army of designers, engineers, and algorithms carefully crafted to capture attention, to keep you hooked, to turn your focus into profit. You are not the customer. You are the product. The longer you stay, the more they gain. And so your rest, your focus, your peace become collateral damage. But beyond the economics, the spiritual cost is heavier. Every time you escape into endless scrolling, you drift further from yourself. Every moment you numb with distraction is a moment you miss the miracle of being alive. You trade presence for stimulation, depth for noise, connection for comparison. You may laugh at a funny clip, feel informed by the news, but afterward, how often do you feel lighter? More often, you feel restless, empty, strangely hungry for more. The Buddha spoke of sense desire, the craving for pleasant sights, sounds, tastes, touches, and thoughts. Technology amplifies this craving to extremes. Every scroll brings a new sight, every click a new sound, every notification a new rush of dopamine. The mind becomes addicted not to content itself, but to the endless novelty. Just one more video, just one more update, just one more. It never ends. Think of a man drinking seawater to quench his thirst. The more he drinks, the thirstier he becomes. This is the trap of technology-fueled craving. You consume endlessly, but instead of satisfaction, you are left with agitation. You do not rest. You only chase. And what of relationships? Families sit together, but each member stares at their own screen. Friends meet for dinner, yet half the table is texting someone else. Parents try to speak to children, but the glow of the device wins attention. Technology promises connection, but often delivers the opposite. Loneliness deepens, not because we are physically apart, but because we are mentally absent. So what is the way forward? The Buddha did not face smartphones, but he understood distraction. He taught sati, mindfulness, the art of paying full attention to the present moment. When you are mindful, you see clearly. The urge to check your phone, the pull of a notification, the restless itch to escape boredom. Instead of obeying every urge, you pause. You breathe. You ask, do I choose this, or am I being pulled? That pause is freedom. Imagine this practice. Before unlocking your phone, take one conscious breath. Ask, why am I reaching for this? Am I seeking information or escape? Am I nourishing myself or numbing? Most of the time, you will discover the phone is not necessary. The craving is the habit, not the need. By interrupting the cycle, you reclaim your time, your mind, your life. Another practice is intentional use. Set boundaries, not as punishment, but as protection. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Create phone-free spaces at the dinner table, in the bedroom, during conversations. These are not rules to restrict you, but gifts to restore what truly matters. Presence with family, rest at night, depth in conversation. The Buddha once compared the mind to a wild elephant. Untrained, it destroys everything in its path. But with patience, with training, it becomes powerful, gentle, and wise. Technology amplifies the wildness of the elephant, but mindfulness is the rope that guides it. Each time you choose awareness over impulse, you strengthen the habit of freedom. Of course, the pull of technology will not vanish overnight. You will still feel the itch to check, the desire to scroll. But each pause, each conscious choice is a victory. Each moment of awareness plants a seed. And over time, the seeds grow into freedom. So let us pause here. Reflect on your own habits. How many hours slip away each day into screens? How often do you reach for your phone, not from need, but from habit? Do you control the device, or does it control you? A first step is honesty. The second is compassion, not to judge yourself, but to gently guide yourself back, again and again, to presence. In the next part of this chapter, we will explore more deeply how technology shapes not only our attention, but our sense of self, and how Buddhist wisdom can help us use these tools without losing our souls. For now, remember, technology is not evil, but it is powerful. To live freely in this age, you must reclaim the most precious resource of all, your attention. Picture a teenager sitting in her room, scrolling through social media. She sees pictures of classmates at a party she was not invited to, friends on vacation in beautiful places, strangers with perfect faces and perfect lives. Her stomach twists. She feels smaller, less worthy, left out. This is the silent poison of comparison. Technology, while promising connection, often magnifies insecurity. Instead of bringing us closer, it makes us doubt ourselves. Psychologists now speak of social media anxiety, but the Buddha named this suffering long ago as envy and craving. The mind grasps at images of others' joy, comparing, judging, concluding, I am not enough. Yet those images are only fragments, carefully chosen moments, not the full truth. We forget that behind every perfect photo may be loneliness, behind every smile may be pain. Still, the mind clings, and in that clinging, peace is lost. Another trap lies in the illusion of productivity. How many times have you told yourself, I'll just check one email, only to lose an hour to notifications and endless clicking? Technology convinces us we are multitasking, moving faster, achieving more. But in reality, the mind becomes scattered, fragmented, exhausted. The Buddha described the distracted mind as a monkey leaping from branch to branch, never still. Technology feeds this monkey, giving it infinite branches. But wisdom teaches, true focus is not doing more, but doing one thing fully. So what can we do? The first step is awareness. Notice how you feel after long hours online. Do you feel nourished or drained? Uplifted or restless? This awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you see clearly. You realize the cost of distraction, the emptiness of endless scrolling. Awareness alone begins to loosen the trap. The second step is intention. Ask yourself, how do I want technology to serve me? Perhaps it is to learn, to connect, to create. Set your intention before you open your device and close it when that intention is fulfilled. Without intention, technology will consume you. With intention, you reclaim control. The third step is compassion. Do not condemn yourself for being hooked. These tools are designed to be addictive. Instead, treat yourself with kindness. Each time you notice distraction and return to presence, celebrate. That return is not failure, it is training. Every return strengthens your freedom. The Buddha taught right attention. Whatever you feed your attention grows. If you feed fear, fear grows. If you feed craving, craving grows. But if you feed mindfulness, compassion, wisdom, these grow instead. Technology is like a garden filled with both weeds and flowers. You must choose what to water. If you water only weeds, you cannot blame the garden. The power lies in attention. Consider a simple practice. 1 hour each day, step away. No phone, no screen, no distraction. Walk outside. Feel the breeze. Listen to the birds. Eat a meal slowly, tasting each bite. At first, the silence may feel uncomfortable, even unbearable. That discomfort is not emptiness, it is the withdrawal from constant stimulation. With time, silence becomes nourishment. You remember that life is rich without pixels. Think also of relationships. What would change if, during conversation, you put your phone aside completely? What if, instead of half listening, you offered full presence? Small gestures, eye contact, undivided attention heal loneliness more than 100 text messages. Technology cannot replace presence. Only presence heals. And beyond presence, generosity. Instead of scrolling mindlessly, you can use technology to share kindness. A thoughtful message, a word of encouragement, a moment of gratitude. These small acts ripple outward. The Buddha called this right speech, using words to uplift, not to harm. Technology amplifies speech. Therefore, it also amplifies your responsibility. Every post, every comment, every share is a seed. What kind of garden are you planting? Ultimately, the question is not whether technology is good or bad. The question is whether you are awake or asleep while using it. Asleep, you are a puppet, pulled by algorithms, comparing, consuming, losing yourself. Awake, you are a master, choosing wisely, using the tools without being used. This is the essence of Buddhist practice. To wake up, so as this chapter closes, carry this reflection. Your attention is sacred. It is the most valuable treasure you own. Technology will try to buy it, steal it, scatter it. But you can choose to guard it, to offer it only to what nourishes peace. And as we move to the next chapter, where we face perhaps the deepest struggle of all, the search for meaning in a world that often feels empty, remember this. Technology may connect devices, but mindfulness connects hearts. The real network is not online. It is within, between, and all around us, waiting to be remembered. On a busy highway, cars stretch as far as the eye can see. Inside one of them, a man grips the steering wheel, caught in the endless crawl of traffic. He has a good job, a house in the suburbs, a car that works, a family waiting at home. Yet as he sits there, surrounded by thousands of others rushing somewhere, a quiet question rises in his chest. All this, for what? The thought lingers, heavier than the traffic itself. Life feels like motion without destination. This is the silent crisis of meaning. For many, the external markers of success, money, possessions, achievements, do not satisfy the deeper hunger of the soul. People reach the goals they once believed would complete them, only to find themselves strangely empty. The diploma, the promotion, the house, the relationship, none answer the question that whispers in the quiet hours. Why am I here? Modern life, for all its comfort, often strips away context. In earlier times, people lived within traditions, rituals, communities that offered a framework of purpose. Today, those structures have weakened. Many live isolated, guided by advertisements, social media, and fleeting pleasures. Work fills the calendar, but not the heart. Entertainment fills the evenings, but not the spirit. Beneath the surface busyness lies a quiet despair, the sense that life has no deeper ground. The Buddha understood this despair. He called it the suffering of samsara, the endless cycle of striving, achieving, losing, and striving again. Like a wheel spinning without rest, life seems trapped in repetition. We run in circles, mistaking movement for progress. But beneath it all lies the same longing, to find something steady, something real, something meaningful. Pause and reflect. Have you ever felt this emptiness? Have you ever asked yourself, if I accomplish everything I planned, will it be enough? For many, the answer is unsettling, because meaning cannot be bought or achieved. It must be discovered. So where do we begin? The Buddha pointed inward. Meaning is not imposed from outside. It arises when we see clearly, when we awaken. Imagine walking in a dark room, bumping into walls, fumbling blindly. Life without meaning feels like that. But the moment you light a candle, the room is the same, yet everything changes. You see, you understand. You move with confidence. The search for meaning is not about changing the world outside. It is about lighting the candle of awareness within. One key teaching is interconnectedness. The Buddha taught that all beings are linked, like jewels in a vast net, each reflecting the other. When you see this truth, life gains depth. Your actions matter, not because they boost your ego, but because they ripple outward. A kind word eases someone's burden. A compassionate act heals a wound. A mindful choice shifts the fabric of the whole. Meaning arises when you realize you are part of something larger and that your presence contributes to its harmony. Another source of meaning is service. Modern culture often glorifies self-interest. Build your brand, chase your goals, protect your success. Yet countless people find their deepest fulfillment not in what they take, but in what they give. A nurse sitting beside a dying patient. A teacher encouraging a struggling child. A neighbor checking in on the elderly down the street. These acts may seem small, but they shine with profound significance. The Buddha taught that generosity, compassion, and loving kindness are not just moral duties. They are the very soil of meaning. But perhaps the most radical teaching is this: meaning is not something to be found in the future. It is discovered in the present. When you wash the dishes with full awareness, that moment has meaning. When you listen deeply to a friend, that moment has meaning. When you breathe in and truly feel alive, that moment has meaning. The search ends not with a grand revelation, but with a simple recognition. Life itself, here and now, is meaningful when met with presence. Think of a flower blooming by the roadside. Most people rush past, eyes on their phones, minds on tomorrow. But if you pause, if you truly see the flower, the colors, the fragrance, the fragile beauty, you touch something eternal. For that moment, life is not a puzzle to solve, but a gift to experience. The Buddha often pointed to such ordinary miracles: a breath, a step, a smile. They are not small. They are the very fabric of meaning. So let us pause here. Reflect on your own search. Where have you been looking for meaning? In achievements? In possessions? In others' approval? What if meaning is not hidden out there, but waiting quietly within your own awareness? What if the very act of asking the question is already the doorway? In the next part of this chapter, we will go deeper into how the Buddha's teachings guide us through the existential emptiness of modern life, transforming despair into awakening. For now, carry this truth: you do not need to wait for a perfect future to live a meaningful life. Meaning is here, now, in every breath, every act of kindness, every moment of awareness. Picture an elderly man sitting alone on his porch at sunset. His hair is gray, his body frail, yet his mind is restless. He looks back at decades of work, achievements, possessions. He raised a family, built a career, did everything society told him to do. Yet as he watches the fading light, an emptiness remains. Was this all there was? He wonders. This question haunts not only the old, but also the young, those in the middle of life, all who pause long enough to hear the quiet whisper of the heart. What is the point of it all? Modern culture offers quick answers. Buy this, achieve that, travel here, earn more, look younger. But these answers are shallow. They cannot reach the depth of the question. At best, they distract. At worst, they deepen the despair, because the more we chase, the emptier we feel. This is the existential hunger the Buddha spoke of, the search for solid ground in a world that is always shifting. So what did the Buddha offer in place of emptiness? He offered the Dharma, a path of awakening. Not a set of beliefs to accept blindly, but a way of living that reveals meaning step by step. The first truth is to acknowledge suffering, not to hide it, not to run, but to face it honestly. Meaning begins when we stop pretending, when we admit, yes, there is pain, there is confusion, there is longing. This honesty opens the door to transformation. The second truth is to see the cause of suffering: craving, clinging, the desperate grasping for permanence in a world of impermanence. We want life to hold still, but it never does. We want happiness to last forever, but it changes. The endless chase leaves us weary. And yet, in seeing this clearly, we gain freedom. Because the third truth says, suffering can end. The fourth truth says, there is a path. This path, the Noble Eightfold Path, is not abstract philosophy. It is a practical guide for living with clarity, compassion, and purpose. When you live with mindfulness, every act becomes meaningful. Washing a dish, walking across a room, speaking to a friend, each moment shines when met with awareness. When you live with compassion, every relationship becomes meaningful. Helping a neighbor, listening to a child, forgiving an old wound, each act of kindness is a seed that outlives you. When you live with wisdom, even suffering becomes meaningful. Illness, loss, failure, these are not curses, but teachers. They remind us of impermanence. They soften our pride. They deepen our compassion. Meaning, and is not found in escaping life, but in embracing it fully with all its joy and sorrow, gain and loss, birth and death. The Buddha taught that life itself is the field where awakening grows. Every experience, no matter how small, is soil for the seed of awareness. The question is not, does my life have meaning? The question is, am I awake enough to see the meaning already here? Consider the image of a candle lighting another candle. The first flame does not lose itself. Instead, the light multiplies. So too with human life. When you live with compassion and awareness, your light spreads into your family, your community, your world. You may never know the full impact of your presence, but it ripples outward endlessly. Is that not meaning enough? And yet, the search for meaning is not only about others. It is also about yourself. To sit quietly, to breathe, to discover that you are not just your worries, not just your roles, not just your possessions. That realization is profound. You are awareness itself, spacious and free. When you touch that truth, life no longer feels empty. Even the simplest moment carries a sacred quality. So pause now. Feel your breath moving in and out. Feel the ground beneath you, steady and supportive. For this moment, set aside the chase for answers. Rest in presence. Here, in this breath, meaning is alive. As this chapter closes, remember, the search for meaning is not a journey outward, but a homecoming. You are not here to accumulate endlessly, nor to prove yourself endlessly. You are here to awaken, to love, to live with clarity. And that, in itself, is enough. In the next and final part of our journey, we will gather all the threads: stress, money, love, fear, technology, meaning, and weave them into one whole. We will see how each struggle, each question leads to the same doorway, the doorway of awakening. And we will close with hope, with faith, with the reminder that peace is not far away. It is already within you, waiting patiently to be remembered. The journey we have taken together has been long. We began with the restless burden of stress, the invisible weight pressing on your chest each morning before your feet touched the ground. We walked through the shadow of money, that endless chase of never enough, which drains joy from even the most secure lives. We stepped into the realm of love and loneliness, where hearts ache for connection, but often stumble into attachment and pain. We confronted the haunting anxiety of tomorrow, the mind spinning in endless circles of what if. We saw how technology, once a tool, has become a trap, scattering attention, numbing presence, deepening isolation. And finally, we faced the deepest question of all: the search for meaning, that whisper within every soul asking, why am I here? Each of these struggles is real. They are not illusions you can wish away. They are part of the human condition, especially in this modern age. And yet, through the lens of the Buddha's timeless wisdom, each struggle is also a doorway. Stress teaches us to return to the breath, to discover calm beneath the storm. Money teaches us the futility of craving, the richness of contentment, the freedom of generosity. Love and loneliness teach us the difference between clinging and compassion, the healing power of presence. Anxiety about tomorrow teaches us the preciousness of now, the truth of impermanence, the courage of trust. Technology teaches us the value of guarding attention, of reclaiming presence, of choosing wisely. And the search for meaning teaches us that awakening in self-awareness, compassion, wisdom is life's true purpose. Pause here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice how, though each chapter spoke of different struggles, they all led to the same point: the recognition that peace is not something far away. It is here. It has always been here. Beneath stress, beneath fear, Beneath loneliness, beneath craving, peace waits. Like the sky behind the clouds, the Buddha never promised that life would be free from difficulty. Storms come, loss comes. Aging, sickness, death, all are part of this human path. But he did promise that freedom is possible. Not freedom from life, but freedom within life. Freedom to meet every moment, no matter how hard, with clarity instead of confusion, with compassion instead of anger, with trust instead of fear. Think back to the stories we shared. The worker staring at bills late at night. The couple arguing in the kitchen. The teenager scrolling endlessly, comparing herself to strangers. A man in traffic whispering, "For what?" These are not strangers. They are us. They are humanity. They are you. And yet, none of them are trapped forever. Each one has the potential to awaken. Each one can step off the treadmill, put down the backpack of worry, open the clenched fist of craving, and discover freedom. Perhaps you wonder, but how do I begin? The answer is simple, though not always easy. Begin small. Begin with the breath. When stress rises, pause and breathe. When money worries stir, pause and remember. Enough is a state of mind. When loneliness bites, pause and whisper loving kindness to yourself. May I be at peace. When anxiety about tomorrow spins, pause and return to now. When technology calls endlessly, pause and ask, do I choose this or am I being pulled? When the search for meaning overwhelms you, pause and see the miracle of this moment. You are alive, breathing, aware. These pauses are not escapes. They are returns. Each pause is a step back home, back to yourself, back to the unshakable peace that has never left you. This is the essence of practice. Not to become someone else, but to remember who you already are. The Buddha often used the image of a lotus. The lotus grows in muddy water, yet its petals remain unstained. Your life may be muddy stress, fear, grief, doubt, but you too can rise unstained. The mud does not define you. It nourishes you. Without mud, there is no lotus. Without suffering, no awakening. Every challenge you face can become the soil from which wisdom grows. And as you practice, you begin to notice small changes. Stress no longer overwhelms you as quickly. Money no longer controls your sense of worth. Loneliness no longer feels like a prison, but an invitation to deepen compassion. Anxiety no longer dominates every night, but visits like passing weather. Technology no longer rules your attention, but serves your intention. The search for meaning no longer feels desperate, but becomes a gentle unfolding, moment by moment. This is transformation, not dramatic, not instant, but steady, like dawn breaking after the night. And with time, the light grows. Now, imagine your life if you truly embraced this path. Waking in the morning, you breathe before reaching for your phone. Walking into work, you see your coworkers not as competitors, but as fellow travelers, each carrying unseen burdens. Paying bills, you feel gratitude for what those bills represent: warmth, shelter, connection. Sitting at dinner, you put the phone aside and look into the eyes of your loved ones, truly seeing them. Lying in bed at night, you place a hand on your heart and whisper, I am here. I am enough. I am at peace. This life is possible. It does not require perfection. It does not require becoming a monk or retreating to a mountain. It requires only willingness to pause, to see, to practice. Step by step, moment by moment, you build a life not free from difficulty, but rich with meaning. And so, as we close, let this be your takeaway. Peace is not something you must earn. It is your birthright. Love is not something you must chase. It is your nature. Meaning is not something you must find. It is revealed when you awaken. Let me leave you with a question, not to answer with words, but to carry in your heart. What if everything I am seeking is already here, waiting in this very moment? Breathe that question in. Breathe it out. Let it settle. The journey does not end here. In truth, it has only begun. May you walk forward with clarity in your mind, compassion in your heart, and peace in your steps. And may you discover, again and again, that the home you have been searching for has always been within you.